Well, hello model car fans. Welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Rao. And this week I'm going to feature a build here of a 70 Dodge Super Bee. And this, I remember when this kit came out or was announced in the early 90s. I was so excited. I really wanted this kit. I don't remember the full details of how I got the kit. I just remember I had to anxiously wait for it. Like I asked for it for my birthday or Christmas or something, or just waiting for it to get into the hobby shops. Like I saw it in one of the magazines, but it took a while to get my hands on it. And I remember that, but I don't remember the full details of it. But this is one that, it's kind of an odd looking car, and it's one that is different from pretty much everything else that Mopar was putting out in 1970. And some say that that front end has something to do with why it didn't sell so well, but the Super Bee itself didn't sell very well pretty much its whole lifespan, when it was first introduced in 68 and in 69 and 70, and then it continued in 71, but not on the Coronet was gone. So if you know the Super Bee story, it was moved to the Charger. But the Charger, I think, had a lot to do with competing against it. There was just too much competition in the Dodge line, and I'm sure that had a lot to do with it, because the Charger was selling very well and everything else was selling well, but the Super Bee just wasn't doing quite so well. But it was a budget car, and then even the Coronet RT, which that one really suffered compared to the Super Bee. But for 1970, there was something like 11,800 hardtops made, which is what this is. 3,900 coupes made, or sedans, the post sedans, which was still available in 1970. And this pretty much the same powertrain. The 383 was the base motor with the automatic, 4-speed being available, and then moving on up to the 440 6-pack, and then the Hemi in those, and a couple of different stripe packages. I put the C stripe on this one, but on the Bumblebee stripe was also available. So you had a couple of different stripe options for 1970, plus the Ram Charger hood, which is what here, the Fresh Air Package N96 hood, which is the option code for it, most commonly known as the Ram Charger hood. I fully enjoyed building this. I always thought that this front end really grew on me when it came to seeing these in real life. Pretty sinister. It's like when I see them in pictures and photos, but when I actually saw one in real life, I really liked it. Especially that particular car, the front end was down a little bit in primer. It was just a mean looking car, and I thought it was just awesome. And I've seen a couple of wagons like this. They're just wonderful for me. I just love those. But the Super Bee, just an awesome car. And when it came to this model kit, I didn't learn this at the time. I thought it was like all new tooling. But if you know this kit, this is actually an MPC body dating back all the way back to the original annual release, which I think was only issued the one time. But without this hood, it had the pitchfork hood, is what most people nicknamed it. AMT and MPC in the 90s, they had combined it where this kit, the interior is all MPC, the body and pretty much, I think I'm not sure about the glass. I don't think the glass is. But it didn't use the original MPC chassis that was still available too, because it was in the Charger. They used the new Roadrunner chassis, and they issued the kit with that chassis and all of those parts and the engine, but they put a 440 6-pack on it. So it's really the first kit bash, but it's a factory kit bash, because it had one chassis originally and later swapped over, and when it was reissued with this chassis. So that's why some parts of it don't quite fit very well, but it pretty much drops right in there, even right from the factory. And talk about a blueprint for your first kit bash. They were doing it back then. There may be other kits that they did that too, because I do know about that time they had, and this one was one of them as well, where they had the Pro Street chassis and they had the stock chassis, and they interchanged the tooling between the two. So there was some of that going on. But as far as an annual getting a complete new chassis that I know of, this is the one I can think of. There might be some others, but this one I know now, but didn't know back then. But I really enjoyed building this, and it's funny. I'm going to throw in some pictures and you'll get to see them. And I'll put them all in the end, full view, full screen. But this one was victim to me rebuilding it and not being completely satisfied. The first time I built it, which I have those pictures, it was just like this, purple, plum crazy purple, and white interior. The interior I did not redo, but it was all silver painted, no bare metal foil. But the very first, and then I had the bumblebee stripe that came with the kit. But when I finished it the first time, pretty happy with it. But it sat for a number of years. But as my skill level improved and I started to learn how to detail the tires, so later on I had detailed the tires, the white letters on them, got those done, and then I added the 440 decals on the scoops here, and was happy with that for a while. And then I had it built with the 446 pack. That was fine-tuned, and then as I got better, and a lot of my builds that were nice, which this one was a pretty nice one, I decided that I was gonna take them apart and bare metal foil them, polish the paint, and then some of them I stripped the paint and redid them. This one ended up being one that I pulled it apart, and I was going to just bare metal foil it, and I forgot what happened. Something happened with the paint where I kind of messed it up, and then I decided, all right, I'm gonna clean it all up and redo the paint job. I don't think I actually stripped this one. I think I just no, I did strip it. The more I think about it, because the bumblebee stripe, I did strip it and repaint the body. And then once I did that, put the bare metal foil on it and all of that. Did not do anything to the interior. It's white interior, and you can see my brush strokes on the deck there and on the dash. And I actually did the whole underside in plum crazy, and then blacked this all out. This really shouldn't be. That should be body color also. There's the manual tranny. But one thing I did do was I robbed some parts off of it actually, and decided I was going to go a little bit base model. As you can see, it's still got the 446 pack oval air cleaner, but you really have to get at the right angle. There's a 4-barrel carburetor under there instead of the 6-pack, but it's under this, so you really can't see it. So this air cleaner is now technically wrong. It should have the oval base, but it should have a round air cleaner with one stud, and it should be 383, because I did this one as a 383 base, which is why the hood now has 383 emblems on the scoops. And it was funny, I kind of forgot about that when I was cleaning this up and polishing it, because this is one I built a long time ago when it first came out in the early 90s, and I rebuilt it in like 2002, 2003 when I was getting back into the hobby. But I showed you my 69 812 Roadrunner car. When I was building that and doing the resin conversion, I took the 4-barrel off of that because it was a 444 barrel, swapped it onto this one, and put the 383 decals on it. Made this one a more of a standard 383, and then I used these decals with the C-stripe because I really wanted those. And they're kind of muddy, so I believe they're from one of the Pro Street kits. I'm not really sure where I'd gotten them. I don't believe they're Keith Marks or anybody like that. I just think they're factory ones. I may have even traded for them, but I don't remember. But that was 2003 when I had rebuilt this one, and been pretty happy with it since. I have an itching to do another one. I've actually built a couple of these, and I've had a few people ask me if I had built one of these. It's like, yeah, I built a couple. But yeah, this one's been built twice, touched up a second time, a third time, so and cleaning it off and everything. But yeah, it's always been purple though. It was purple the first time, stripped it. Well, I didn't, the first touch up was basically me doing the tires and touching up a few little things and just cleaning up the details, and then stripping the body and making it plum crazy with the stripe. But she came out awesome, and I love it in my collection. And I got one of the resin Super Bee pitchfork hoods for it, and I thought about doing one of those, or doing a Hemi version with this hood. But I haven't decided, how I'm gonna build another one of these. But just love the way this car looks, and how the shape and everything. Even though it's kind of an odd one when you can compare it to the other Dodges that were available in 1970. But I just love the twin loop bumpers on this thing, and it's just a sinister looking car. And the more you modify it, and with a blacked out hood and stuff, I just think it looks really cool. But they just didn't quite sell well, even though all the Cornets had this grill bumper arrangement in 1970, and they sold a whole bunch of them, but most of them were taxis and police, and a number of four-doors. But it was definitely unique and stood out in the 1970 Dodge lineup. So it was definitely a different car. But it's just an awesome kit, and I know it's been released a few more times, and they're out there and fairly easy to find. Pretty cool car. Another one that I really admire and just love the story on it. But even 1970, I just really like this one. 69s are great. They sold a whole lot more of those ones. But the Super B's almost a forgotten car. Not a whole lot of people talk about them, and you don't see too many of them in shows either. But even the Cornet RT, for 1970 is kind of a comma footnote. That one really suffered in sales and whatnot, but I have yet to feature one of those, and I got resin conversion kits to build them as well. But that'll be it for this one. So thank you for tuning in, subscribing, and all your comments. I really appreciate it. And you guys, you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next Saturday.